And we'll do it live. We'll do it live. I like to do live videos because I don't have to save it on my computer, although I do end up saving it later and distributing it. But here's why we're going to talk about sex. I should just say the word sex, and then I'll get a lot of attention because people like sex. They want to talk about sex. I want to talk about sex right now. You know why? Because sex is not a trivial matter. And this is a video response to a very important argument that we're having right now on Twitter. Very important argument, and it's an argument that needs to be expanded on, because what tends to happen in the culture is you have the young generation saying, "What's the big deal? What's the big deal with the sex? How come we can't just have sex with everybody? What's the big deal?" And if you notice, it's usually the older people who are saying, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! What you want to do is you want to get married really young, and you want to start off really young when you're in high school. Actually, the ideal time to get married would be around 15 or 16, 17, 18, around that time. And once you've gone through puberty, you get married to someone your own age, and then you get married and you have children, and you do all this young. You want to start doing this when you're young. And then that becomes part of your life. So then as you become an adult, you have children, and then they have grandchildren, and then you have great grandchildren, and you have a family, and this is the cornerstone of civilization. So when Lilly says that the reason why Nick Fuentes and the America First people are something, she says they need to start getting laid and appealing to more voters if they actually want change. Now, who's in the picture that she's responding to? It's Nick Fuentes. It's Jake Shields, who's a grown adult man who is a UFC fighter. Is she saying that he's never been with a woman? Is that what she's saying? Then you've got all these other people. So obviously these people, they like to use this. It's really a trope. It's a trope about you're an incel and you just need to get laid. You hear this all the time. You don't just need to get laid. And that's the thing about this Lilly person, this girl named Lilly. She kind of broke out onto the scene with all this popularity all of a sudden. And she likes to use sex talk in her TikTok videos or whatever. So she's a young girl. She's somewhat attractive. But the thing is, when she uses that kind of language, it actually makes her unattractive, especially to older people. You got to understand. I'm 51 years old. Okay. I've been through all of this stuff. Okay. So when you say that the problem with an AFPAC is they just need to get laid, no, that's not. We don't just need to get laid, and they don't just need to get laid, because sex is not a trivial thing. Sex is not a trivial thing. Sex is not like washing your hands. Sex is not like, having a bite to eat at a fast food restaurant. That's the difference. Is that this whole culture of sex is trivial and it just doesn't matter is the problem. It's the problem with the culture, because sex is the cornerstone of human civilization. So when you make sex into something that's just whatever, it doesn't really matter, it's no big deal, then the civilization's no big deal, is it? And the people are no big deal. See, all the people in the civilization therefore become no big deal, right? And here we have this whole ideology of promiscuity that she's promoting. So this is this Lilly person. Now, I noticed this right away. There was something wrong with it. Now, you got to understand, Nick Fuentes promotes a very Catholic, traditional Catholic view of sex, which is marriage and family. And the fact that he's not married and that he's celibate, it doesn't matter. He's not violating his beliefs because he's celibate. So if he's celibate, he's not violating this belief of marriage with sex. But this whole idea, I really think this is not just like a peripheral topic. This is a central topic. It's a central topic to society. This idea that, oh, this stuff doesn't matter. Sex is just, it's no big deal. It shouldn't be like a central thing that we should be concerned about. People should just do it with whoever they want. It doesn't matter how many partners you have, or if it's same sex or opposite sex. It doesn't matter. This is all a lie. That's why a lot of what I've been talking about relates to sex, because sex is not trivial. Now, where did this Lilly girl come from? She came the first time she's been on TikTok and Twitter, I guess, for a while. But the first time I heard of her, where she really exploded onto the scene, was because I follow Alex Jones on Twitter, and he was the first person that I saw who had forwarded one of her Twitter posts. And in that post, she's talking about sucking dicks, and you're just sucking the government dicks. Like, when you talk like that, that's not feminine, and it's actually makes you sound like a guy. Okay, it actually makes you sound like a man. When a woman talks like that publicly, okay, when she says foul mouth stuff, she sounds like that's like masculine type of talk, right? It just doesn't make any sense for a feminine female to speak like that in public. So it's that's one thing. But I noticed she really pushes that sex thing because she's trying to get attention. But I don't believe that she's just doing this on her own. She showed up at AFPAC, right? She showed up at AFPAC. She trolls AFPAC with the Zionist flag. People were nice to her when she was there, but she's like really trying to like get in the movement and then make it about, hey, you're just not appealing to enough people. You need to get laid, and you need to have sex, and like cool it with the chastity, cool it with the marriage oaths. See, this is weird. And the other place that I saw her was on the Owen Schroyer show, and he's like, hey, are you a trad wife? Because she tried to promote herself as that. It's like, well, she's not. She's not traditional. She's promoting the same porno culture as the hexagram people and the Republican Party and the Democrat Party and the CIA has been doing this whole time through Hollywood. It's the same thing. It's like, oh, but see, that's the whole thing about how the mainstream right wing. We're just, we like porno culture, but we just think taxes should be low, and we like war, which the Democrats like too. See, it's just like this whole shitty group of people. So what I'm saying is this: sex is not trivial. It's not like washing your hands. It's not like just giving somebody a handshake. It's not no big deal. And if it is no big deal for you, then that says something about you. If sex is just no big deal, what does that say about you? What does that say about you? What does that say about your life? Right? Sex is a big deal, and that's why it needs to be guarded and protected. And that's why the important point I want to make here is that she says, so then she says they need to start by, she's criticizing AFPAC. This Evan Kilgore guy says a group of 18 to 30-year-old men founded this great country, and a group of 18, 30-year-old men will take it back. Who's ready? America first. And she says they need to start by getting laid and appealing to more voters if they actually want change. Well, how would becoming like your porno culture and being more liked by a lot of porno culture people, how would that make any kind of change? What kind of change are you talking about? Because it's not the kind of change that we're talking about. It's not the kind of change that I'm talking about. It's not the kind of change that anybody that I'm affiliated with on Twitter is talking about. We're not talking about the same kind of change. I don't even know what you're talking about. Okay, so she says they need to start by getting laid and appealing to more voters. Why would I need to appeal to more voters? that think porno culture is good, that think gay marriage is good, that think it's perfectly fine for Dave Rubin to purchase a baby to take home to his homosexual husband and pretend like that's their baby, right? That's evil. That's an evil thing to do, to purchase a baby. It's a form of slavery and it's a form of child abuse. So why would what makes you think I want to appeal to these people? I don't. I don't want to appeal to them. I don't want to attract them into anything that I'm doing. Secondly, so we get a response. He says, here's Adam Showchild, is the name of the person. That's the one thing I don't get. What's this presupposed weakness to getting laid? In other words, what's the big deal about getting laid, right? That's what he's trying to say. Why is that a weakness? And she's like, and so her response is, who knows? Right. So here's this whole idea that sex is trivial. Like, what's the big deal, man? Right. This is this is a philosophy of immature people. Now, this is why I'm explaining this to you. Who is it throughout the history of civilization that's always imposed marriage on the society? That's always imposed control over the sexual impulses of the younger people to try to get them married early and have a family early and stay with and have the husband stay with the wife. Who was it that always did that? It was the old people. The old people. It's always been the old people who have told the younger people what they have to do when it comes to sex. Why? Because the old people have the experience and they can look back on that experience and see what is right and what is wrong. And they don't want you to fall in the same trap that they've maybe dipped their toe into and said, whoa, 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 that's the wrong direction, right? That's the whole point. That's why the elders of society have always imposed sexual controls on the younger people. Right? This is why Washington, D.C. is not a legitimate government. This is some kind of mafia. This is some kind of genocidal, satanic, but just in terms, forget about religious terms. It's just a genocidal cult. They're doing this on purpose. They know that what they're promoting is going to kill you. They know that. That's why they're promoting it to you. That's why MTV promotes it to you. That's why all of the mainstream media promotes it to you. That's why pornography is everywhere, because they don't want you to survive. It's just another way. They have, okay, you got to understand, the people that run the US government and that control Hollywood. Hollywood is an invention of the government. It was never a free media thing. Never. Hollywood pictures, Hollywood, all the pornography that came out of Hollywood, all of the movie pictures that have come out of Hollywood has always been bankrolled by Washington, D.C. through a network of what you call NGOs, just like they do around the world. That's how they developed this whole model. It's by backing by loaning money to certain people to build all these Hollywood studios to promote a certain culture. And the culture that the people that were bankrolling it wanted was a culture that would eventually bring us to a point where the human race would be reduced. That's why everything that they promote, and it happened gradually. Let me give you an example. If you go back and you watch movies, because it actually started it started with women's, it started with the way it started with was having women in the role of a strong womanly character who wasn't just in the house. Lucille Ball was a good example of this, but there were others. There were other movies that were made like this in the 1940s. Then in the 50s, there were still families, right? They were trying to get your attention. And then what happened was, as you watch the family life as portrayed by Hollywood or the movie pictures and the television movies, and is that it was big families, but then it was the Brady Bunch where they were divorced, but then they formed a family. But they were both divorced, right? So now they introduced divorce. So divorce was introduced into the families in the TV shows, and then single moms, like that one show about the mom and she's got the two girls and they live somewhere in Arizona, or the lady that works in the diner, right? She's raising a son and she's got to work all day, and it's the story of their life, and that's how their life is, right? And then you have Three's Company, where it's a guy that lives with two women and they're no one's married, and all the neighbors are swingers. You see, so it went from having strong women and then having families with divorce, but big families still. And then it went to, or they're all into the whatever culture. And then it went into, Three's Company. Guy lives with two girls, not married. Then it became about homosexuals. So that was the next big thing they had to do. Homosexual relationships, guys living together. What's that show in San Francisco where it's like two men raising the little girls? Something House. I don't know. I don't know all the names of these shows. It was those two little blonde girls, and they had two dads, right? So the whole idea is progressing you towards this point where the sex and the family doesn't matter, because the people running it want you to die. So yeah, so then and now it's just everywhere. Now it's all that. And it's just porno culture. America's porno culture, they did the same thing to Europe. They did the same thing to Germany. They did the same thing to England, along with abortion. So when you mix divorce, single moms, abortion, and then once the population is no longer replicating, then what do you get? You get waves and waves and waves and waves of foreign populations that are reproducing to come in and take over the geographic regions, so that the people that live there that were keeping that society going are all outnumbered and it disappears. That's the plan. So let's go back to this Lilly girl. Who knows? What's the big deal about sex? Okay, so let me explain something to you. If sex is not a big deal to you, it's because there's something wrong with you, right? There's something wrong with you. If sex is just like washing your hands, or it's just like this or that, in other words, it's not special. There's no oath involved. There's no oath to loyalty involved. You see, that is one of the key points of marriage, is you're taking an oath to another person around sex, right? It's a social contract that's organized by the society, by the community, where you make an oath to another human being for life. See, oh, it's no big deal. They just need to get laid and then appeal to all these other porno culture people. No, fuck your porno culture people. Fuck all your porno culture people. Okay, you can all go to hell. You are trash. You are garbage. Your porno culture is garbage. It's trash. And anyone who's associated with it is trash. Now, where did I hear about this girl first? Alex Jones. And I'm the sad part is I like Alex Jones, but he always promotes shit. He constantly promotes shitty people. And Joe Rogan constantly promotes shitty people, constantly promotes shitty porno culture. Constantly. That's the problem with the Republican Party. The Republican Party, it's not, it's not that it's the worst thing, but it's close to that. In other words, when you degrade sex, or you trivialize sex, you trivialize humanity. You trivialize people, right? You trivialize people. People are no big deal. Sex is no big deal. You don't need to make an oath to anybody. And what's the big deal, man? Well, it's a big deal because it's the cornerstone of civilization. It's how civilizations are made. It's what brings civilization into existence. So it's central to civilization, and so it needs to be guarded and it needs to be protected. You see, and the people who say otherwise are the enemy of sex itself. Nick Fuentes made a very important observation the other day, which is that people who engage in same-sex relationships aren't really having sex, right? Sex is a male and female. That's what act like that when you look at it biologically and you look at it as a physical manifestation. I'm trying to use, I'm trying to describe it very mechanically, right? Like any mechanical engine, you've got a piston and you've got the valve and you've got the whatever, you know what I mean? You've got all the parts that go together. So that is the design of the universe, right? And you're saying this is no big deal, okay? You're degrading existence is what you're doing. You're degrading existence. You're degrading men and women. You're degrading the family. You're degrading children, and you're degrading the whole culture and the community and the entire civilization, right? So if you want to have a successful civilization, you want to have control over the sex impulses, and you want young men and young women who've gone through puberty to get married and stay with each other for life. And you want them to have children. And then after they're done having children and they're no longer interested in that, then they just stay together and they take care of one another and they care for each other. So it's a life of caring for people. See, this is not American civilization. American civilization is porno culture. American civilization is transitory. American civilization is a bunch of different people all coming in and taking this and that and going over here and going over there. And then there's this other thing happening, and nothing ever lasts forever because it's all like lasts for a few minutes and it doesn't really matter anyway because none of it matters. And it's all going to be gone. Okay. And guess what? When it's gone, the people that didn't subscribe to your porno society, they're still going to be here and they're just going to take all your stuff. That's how it works. So the other cultures that aren't doing your porno culture are going to take all your stuff because they're not stupid. Okay. They're not stupid. Okay. If you're into this kind of libertine sex with whoever, doesn't really matter. What's the big deal, man? We need to appeal to these voters. These literal, I mean, you want to appeal to these people? Come on. Have you seen these people? Have you talked to these people? I don't want to appeal to these people. I don't. I'm trying to appeal to people that are smart enough to say we need to abandon those people completely and make something good that doesn't suck. See, that's my mission. My mission is go, hey, guess what? We're not all in this together because we're not in anything with these people. We need to abandon these people, let them go off and die while we make something successful for the future, for future generations, that we actually do have a prosperous, fun, beautiful, enjoyable civilization, because these people can't make that. They don't have the discipline to make that. But okay, sex is sacred. Sex needs to be guarded. Sex needs to be protected. And that's what you need to know about it. It's not just trivial. If you think it's trivial, then you're trivial. That's what it is. You're trivial. You're trivial when it comes to sex. Sex with you is trivial. Get it? So that's the message. And that's all I have to say. So have a good evening.